earmarked sports writers right there.
What'd you say?
It's Around the Horn, presented by Nissan. Here's Tony Reali.
Welcome back to the show. Beefcakes talking sports. Let's meet the meat. Adande.
Finally did it, Tony. Broke down and signed up for Twitter.
How many followers do you have?
2.
That's not so good. Paige.
This show has all the earmarks of an eyesore.
I see what you did there, Woody. Kalisha on the house.
How did I forget to bring my fake ears today? What am I thinking?
Mariotti's with us, too.
3 wins in a week, Rally. Hotter than the Netherlands.
Who are you speaking of?
Me?
Oh, I don't like your chances today, then. Let's go to work.
It's the first word.
We start with the noise in Denver, and shockingly, Woody's not responsible for it. It being reported that Cutler-Broncos relationship, that's gone from bad to worse. Their Clear the Air meeting, a conference call, not a face-to-face, I thought that was odd. And reports are the tone of that conversation was kind of like a student being called into the principal's office. What's your inside information telling you about this, Woody Page?
Well, first of all, they wanted to have a face-to-face meeting, and Cutler refused to come to Denver. So that was his fault. But they did have a conference call involving about 6 people, including Cutler's agent and including the Broncos ownership, Pat Bowlen. I think if you're the coach of the team, bottom line, guys, and let's get to it, coach of the team, you're brand new, you're 32 years old, people are questioning your inexperience, your age, the fact that you came from the Patriots with the attitude and the environment they had there. I think he reaches out to his quarterback, and I am taking Cutler's side because I do believe this guy is going to be, he was a Pro Bowler this year. I think he's going to be a real quality quarterback over time in this league, and you've got to at least bend yourself a little bit.
Okay, but that's what you believe should happen, Woody. What happened in this conversation they had? Did the coach reach out?
No, he didn't at all, and I assumed everybody had read about it by now, Tony. It's afternoon, but he didn't reach out to him. He said, show up for practice on Monday. They have a voluntary workout. Show up for practice. Nobody on this team is untradeable. That doesn't seem to me like a coach that is reaching out. That's what went on in the meeting. I know.
Let's go to Kalisha.
I don't understand the Broncos' handling of this at all. They have one of the best young quarterbacks in the league. That's what every team wants, what every team needs. If Jay Cutler doesn't fly to Denver, Josh McDaniels can fly to wherever Jay Cutler is. He needs to go meet with him. He needs to go sit down with him and say, you're my quarterback. Yes, reach out. He needs to reach out and get his arms around him. And he needs to tell him, you are our quarterback for now and for the future. There's just no reason for this to be happening. This is the best guy who came out of the 2006 quarterback draft. He's having a, obviously much better careers than Vince Young and Matt Leinart to this point. The Broncos need him. He was 3rd in yards and 7th in touchdowns last year. You've got to make Cutler happy. That's what the Broncos have to do.
They have handled this poorly in Denver. They let the talks leak, Tony, when they shouldn't have. And yes, I agree with these guys. Get on Pat Bowlen's jet. Bowlen is a great owner. He's good to the players. Get on the jet and go have a steak dinner in Nashville with this guy and go enjoy a country western show and get it resolved, because this guy is too important. He is your future. He's already a top 5 quarterback in the league. If I'm Jay Cutler, Tony, I take advantage of this situation. What I do is say, hey, look, I'm going to be the bigger man. I'm not going to tell my teammates to lay down. I'm going to be a bigger man. I'll be there Monday for the spring workouts, and I'm going to go out there and have a great year and win the fans over and win the media over and win Woody Page over. That's the way you go about resolving these sort of problems.
The absurdity of this situation really hit me when I saw the headline that said Cutler and McDaniels have awkward call. I remember when I had awkward calls. I was in junior high, and I was trying to talk to girls for the first time. So it's time for Cutler to stop acting like a teenager and act like a grown-up and just accept his professional duties. It doesn't matter what their relationship is like. How about you go through a game? How about you go through training camp? You find out whether or not your new coach has a good offensive scheme, whether he's a good play caller, whether he shows good leadership and decision-making on game days. All that matters is that they can have a mutually beneficial relationship on Sundays. That's it. It's not about respect. It's not about feelings or anything like this. So how about you get a chance to have a coach-quarterback relationship when it matters on the field, on the sidelines, in the locker room before worrying about all this other stuff. Let the relationship develop when it matters most on Sundays.
Woody, you told us about what should happen. What happens if that doesn't happen and this is not repairable? A draft day trade maybe for the Broncos?
No way that's going to happen. I mean, who in the world is out there? You're not going to be able, unless you go to Detroit, you're not going to be able to get one of the two best quarterbacks in the draft. Secondly, I mean, do you really want somebody who's wandering around like Culpepper out there? No, you don't replace a guy who is a Pro Bowler with somebody who is a rookie when you're trying to get back on track.
But if Cutler says, I don't want to play for the Broncos, what's plan B?
He wants to play for the Broncos. It's not his question. They're the ones who've been trying to trade him. He got on board. He came to Denver. He studied the playbook for 2 weeks. When he finished that day was when they tried to trade him. What kind of sense do that make?
I don't think there's any way you can trade a quarterback as good as Jay Cutler, but I'm beginning to wonder what exactly McDaniels learned from coaching with Bill Belichick.
Mariotti.
There is no plan B. You've got to go into the season with this guy and make sure he has another great 4,500-yard passing year. He's a terrific
Broncos are going to be the ones making the decisions, though. We'll see what they decide. Before yesterday, any conversation about Dutch baseball revolved around Bert Blyleven, maybe Sidney Ponson. Definitely not Rick Vandenherk. That was then. This is now. Team Netherlands, the story of this year's World Baseball Classic, after their thrilling win and their ouster of the Dominican Republic. Deal or no deal, Adonde?
It's a deal, but I think you have to extrapolate it and think about what this means for the New York Yankees. And I think the lesson we've learned here is that everything Alex Rodriguez touches blows up. Remember, he gets the Yankees his first year. They become the first team in baseball history to blow a 3-0 lead in the playoffs, and they haven't been that close to the World Series ever since. Now he's in the Dominican training camp for what? About 2 days.
Talk more about the Netherlands. All right, we hear what you're saying about A-Rod. Talk more about the Netherlands.
The Netherlands, all I can talk about them is that I have Dutch ancestry on my mother's side.
So you've got nothing on them either.
I'm very proud of my ancestors.
Mariotti, go ahead.
That is a stretch if I've ever heard one. Leave the man alone. He's recovering from hip surgery in Colorado. I'll tell you about the Netherlands. This is an embarrassment to the Dominican Republic, Tony, a team of 23 current major leaguers making a collective $84.3 million.
I got you there, but I'll tell you about the Netherlands, and then you talk about the Dominican Republic team. Go ahead.
And the Netherlands, 2 current major leaguers making a collective $400,000. It's a historic story for this 3-year-old World Baseball Classic, if you can call it that. I heard somebody, Tony, last night compare this to the Miracle on Ice. You cannot do that. The political ramifications in 1980 just were overwhelming in that event. But it is, I believe, for the Dominican Republic, quite a blow to that country's, pride. They call themselves the Republic of Baseball. They scored 3 runs in 2 games against a bunch of pitchers from Aruba or wherever they're from. It's a great victory for the Netherlands and the Dominican.
Go ahead, Kalish. Get in there.
Well, it is a big upset and it's a big story. I just can't figure out where it's a big story. I don't know if it's big in the Netherlands because a lot of the players have never even been to the Netherlands. So I don't know if the people over there really cared about watching this. It is big in the Dominican Republic, though, because that team, in spite of the fact they didn't have A-Rod and Pujols and those guys, they still had Ortiz. They had Hanley Ramirez. They had Jose Reyes. Jay mentioned they had 23 major leaguers. The Netherlands only had 2. There's no way this team should have been able to beat them once, let alone twice, which is what they did.
All right.
You guys want to talk about the Dominican Republic? Let's talk about this Dutch treat. This was like the little boy with his finger in the dike in the Netherlands, and they were able to pull it off. It's one of the great upsets. It's going to be a great story in the WBC. It's the biggest thing to come out of Holland since ABBA. I think it's fantastic. It brings more.
You know what? Everybody is just going the wrong way. I don't even know how Kalish got 10 points.
How did I get 10?
Because you only talked for 15 seconds, and then you got out of the way. I don't think we can talk about Team Netherlands anymore. You guys don't know anything about Team Netherlands.
Randall Simon, your first baseman. Randall Simon.
Leon Boyd.
I think that form is a life preserver.